show going on. Just another
Tuesday's here.
Tuesday.
Just another Tuesday.
Just another Tuesday. Hey, we were just talking about Devo, man. We don't like cold weather. What's up with that? I don't like cold weather.
Somebody turn the heat on. My wife said I can't turn the heat on till November 1st, brother.
I got the heat on right over here. I can't stand it. Don't like being cold. And then you
my AC. My AC is still on 74. Both my bedroom windows are open. I open this back door every morning, and the fan rolls like it. I literally woke up the other morning. It was 62 degrees in here. I'm like,
yeah, it was 62 in my house this morning. I was like, what are we doing up in here?
Yeah, and why?
Yeah,
and why? Because we pay the bills, like we paid them.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, good topic tonight, and hopefully Eric will be here joining us in a minute. We're going to kick it off and get started, right? Guarding the gate. So guarding the gate, man, what does that mean? You know, it's our job, right? We're the dads. Our job to guard the gate, you know, guard the house. What does it mean to y'all?
Man, I know Devo and I's answer probably might be the same on this one, but it's changed a little bit. But I mean, I think it's, man, it's about not letting, you think of a gate of not letting bad things in or letting things in that would disrupt what's inside. But maybe I'll go a different thought process. It also doesn't let the good things get out either. So I know, Matt, we talk about social media of like, if you put the clamp down on social media or you put the clamp down on life with our kids, it could be bad later. So I think guarding the gate and locking the gate or like walking that gate, walking the opening at night is two totally different things. I think it's filter. Somehow I've learned that sometimes we need, or I'm learning that we just have to be the filter. It's not a full-on gate or a full-on solid wall, whatever it may be. We've got to be a filter, and we've got to be good enough knowing, one, what we can filter in and out of our life or in and out of our homes is different than our kids or our spouse or our friends or whoever. And sometimes we take the brunt of that. And going a little farther in that, and we'll talk, I'm sure, later, is when do we clean our own filter out? When does our filter need cleaned, and maybe how do we do that filter at that point? How do we clean it out to make sure that we're able to still filter things properly? So, Devo?
I was going to say my definitions kind of evolved over the years. Like to me, protecting the gate, like 10 years ago, if you had asked me that question, I would say is dealing with physical. It's absolutely trying to keep bad stuff out, right? So you have to be strong. You have to be physically strong. But now, like, it's all about that mental, man. Like, you have to protect your mind. The battle of the minefield is like real. And so, like, I was listening to, I spent a lot of time in the car. So I was listening to about 3 or 4 services or sermons this week, and all of them touched on the fact of how you have to prepare yourself, how you have to stay, read up, how you have to keep the word like in your heart. You got to hide the word in your heart. From a little kid being in Awanas, you used to talk about that. Hide the word in your heart. Where's the word? In my deep in my heart, right?
Yeah.
And so like I understand that now. Like you can be the strongest man in the world, but if your game is weak, like mentally, like none of your other attributes shine through. And so like you have to, and not only for me, but like, again, it seems like every week I'm always talking about how I parent a little bit different now than I did initially. And like, so I'm always trying to talk to my youngest, well, how do you do this if you approach with this or you approach with that? Or like, I think the best way to win a war is prepare for the war before it ever begins, right? And so, like, that's to me, that's one of the most important things for guiding myself, because like I'm a loner, man. Like I go to a ball game, take a couple flicks, and then I'll be out and come home and watch another ball game on TV. Like that's really what my life is about these days. But but yeah, you just gotta protect your mental so much because we're just so impressionable, man. And like
Yeah.
we talked about social media, and it's like we either comparing ourselves or we're trying to live up to ourselves, or somebody say something crazy off the wall, and we spend the next 30 minutes kicking the dog.
Right.
Like any of those
Yeah.
things take place on a regular.
Yeah.
Like I watch. I don't watch news no more. I'll get on MSNBC and we'll look at a couple of headlines and keep it pushing because
Yep.
all that stuff just filters in your mind and it just your body
Yeah.
absorbs it. Like
Yeah.
even if you tell yourself you don't, you do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's a balance of obviously the gate of your home and the physical gate plus the social media gate, and the things that go on there. I agree with you totally. And then you have the mental that can just get into your head. And there's so much going on in today's world that, man, your mind can just go crazy if you pay too much attention to it. And then the way obviously that the social stuff works is, man, whatever your algorithm's telling you, you're going to go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And you can go down a deep rabbit hole. And so it's just interesting that we have to protect ourselves, but then we also have to feel like we need to protect our house and our loved ones and our kids, really. And that's not always easy, right? Because you want them to grow individually, and but you also want to protect them. And we've talked a lot about that. We talked about it last week, right? It's not easy to sit there and watch that location or whatever. If you have that location when they're at UNC Chapel Hill, is it there at Devo? And we keep bringing that up, but it's true. You can't pay attention to that.
Especially this weekend during Halloween. This
Yeah.
one turn light versus itself. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there in the ether.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's part of our, you talk about location or just knowing where our kids are or what they're doing. It's like we want to protect, and sometimes the protection is sometimes what we talk about, or Matt, you talk about, is you got to let them fail. You got to let them fail, and you got to let them make those decisions that affect them, and hopefully they make ones that are not life altering or life threatening. But if we try to protect too much, like we said, it just goes rampant. And trying to parent nowadays is obviously different. And we talk, this is every week because, all the three of us, and even Eric, when he's here, we grew up in the same type of parenting where we didn't talk back. We didn't have a voice. We got our butt whooped. We got all those things. Now it's changed, but not only are we, I think, trying to protect what comes into our home and kind of what goes out of our home, but it's when our kids go around their friends and the sports teams and other people's houses and, dance or even out in public. I think there's so many, there's so much that's fighting against our kids these days that we didn't have. Yeah. Look, back in the day, the Bible, our parents, grandma, all of that, they had their own stuff. What our kids are getting, and even what are getting, we're having a hard time filtering some of that stuff. We talk social media, obviously, or music. We have a hard time filtering it for our own brains, and we're mature and we've been through things and we failed. And then we expect that our kids 12, 13, 14, 8, 20, whatever, to be able to make those decisions without some sort of guidance. And we have a hard time doing it our own selves. Yeah. So it's double time, I think, maybe for dads. Not that moms don't. We know men are from Mars and women are from Venus. We know that. But we're just wired differently to protect. And we're learning, obviously, to listen. But we're wired to protect. And that means at all costs. Like I read something the other day that was like, look, I look good in orange. I'll drag you across the concrete to protect those two kids. And I say it with my friends too. Like I will sit in cuffs on the side of the road, bloodied and whatever, for any of my people that are in my circle, because that's what it's about. It's about protection, not necessarily the physical, but the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, all of those things.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, no, I think it's hard. I think it's hard, and it's striking the balance, right? And if you go back, you go back to what the caption is, and the first thing, it's what this last part is: guard the gate with wisdom, courage, and faith. Whew. It takes that, right? It takes some faith. It takes some blind trust, like what we keep mentioning and talking about. And I think it's so important that we as dads, we build in and moms, dads and moms, that we build in the right values, that right value system. And then you trust. You got to have blind trust. I said that to a lot of people in counseling, in the counseling world, when I'm talking to people about their relationships, right? I watch people like worry themselves to death. Well, he's going to cheat on me, or he's going to do this, or she's going to step out and she's going to do this. And I call it the what ifs. You can worry yourself about the what ifs all day long. I can what if life to death. What if he does this? What if she does this? What if that happens? What if my kids do this? And you can worry yourself to death, so much so that you make yourself miserable, and that anxiety levels go up, and it causes problems with your relationship. Well, you're what ifing. The what ifs and the whys. Well, it hadn't happened. So why are you worried so much about it that you're going to cause that stress and all that? But it's not easy. It's a blind faith, a blind trust that you have to learn how to have a little bit.
I saw it somewhere, and I don't know if it was years ago, but I said it the other night. I was on my Sunday night live, and maybe it's a sermon I saw. You can't have faith and fear at the same time.
Yeah,
you can't. You either have one or the other. You're either scared to death and you're fearful of that and have zero faith, or you have faith and you don't fear anything. Those are two things that you cannot feel and cannot do at the same time. And I think that really resonates with a lot of people that night when I said it. But even the first time I heard it, and even me saying it, I'm like, what am I scared of? Like and we all do it. We're all like, okay, God, I got you. I got it, man. But what if this happens? What are we going to do? Like you can't live right. You can't live right there. You have to live in one or the other. And that's something that's just kind of helped me recently, probably in the past year, probably last whatever months, is regardless of what it is, whether it's relationship, whether it's parenting, whether it's kids, whether it's money, whether it's job, whatever it is, you have to just have faith that it's going to work out. And he's never late. He's never early. He's always on time. It's us that puts a time constraint on when we want things to happen. And it's not our time. It's not our time. We're not in control of that.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good show. We'll talk to y'all later. Oh, sorry, Eric. Hey, Eric.
What's up?
Been a professional dad tonight. That's what's up. That's a good thing, man.
Yeah. Sorry I'm coming on late, guys. We're coming down to the wire. The boys got grades coming out on Friday. And trying to get social studies done.
I like it.
That's crazy.
I gotta do what you gotta do.
Dad life, baby.
So topic tonight, it's still up there, Eric, is guarding the gate, right? So guarding the gate, and you can read what it's about, but what does that mean to you? We'll just throw you right under the fires, so before we move on.
Well, I will tell you
what happened.
I'll tell you that just coming on late, sometimes you got to make decisions. Not popular. I mean, I don't like being late for anything. Real talk, my family gets on me all the time because I'm always pushing. We got to be here. I hate being late. But I had to make a choice. I saw in my son's eyes that, he didn't know what he was doing for this assignment that was due last week. And I'm like, dude, why is it? So sometimes you have to, I believe in certain situations, you just gotta you gotta be a professional dad. You gotta be available. And it might be sacrificing other things that I want to do. This is top billing on Tuesday nights, but the family comes first. And that's something that I have to protect and make that decision. I have to assume, which I know, I'll get grace on the call with my boys, but I'm always on with my sons, always. And so there's certain times when you just got to kind of know what takes priority, what takes precedent. And that sets a gate that is constantly moving because their needs are always moving. So it's like a saloon door. It feels like it's always kind of moving. So, but again, I'm sorry. I didn't want to be late. I actually had my stuff set up about an hour early because we had a guy came in to help him with math, his first tutoring session and stuff. It was pretty chill to see somebody come in sitting down that he was gelling with. So I came in and tried to get set up and everything, but then at the last minute, he's like, "Dad, I had this paper that was due last week, and we're starting on it tonight. What are we doing?"
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But it goes back. This is the question: what gates exist in your home? And you just talked about it, right? So the relational. You have to you make your priorities.
That's funny. You have on here digital and spiritual. It's funny because they kept calling me back and forth. Hey, Dad, the iPad closed off again. I go in there and put my finger on there for the fingerprint to let it back in. So he's like, "Why won't you just give me the password?" I said, "Man, there's so much junk on that thing right now. You just need to get to what you need for this session. That's all you got to worry about." And I just walk out. But the digital thing, I think Matt, you were talking about it, or you and Josh were talking about it. Maybe last year, was there's certain things that they're just going to have access to because when they get into middle school and high school, you don't want to be a misfit not having some of the things that the children have access to. And we're going through it right now. It's a matter of, do we get an Apple Watch or a phone? And Aaron and I together, like 10 toes down against the phone. And we got a thing called a Gab watch. It's like five phone numbers in there. Text just the family members, and he just thinks he's in purgatory because he has a Gab watch and not the Apple Watch. And I'm like, look, right now there's certain things that I just don't want your eyes to see right now.
Yeah. So that what you're talking about there, I love, and there's already been some comments about this tonight in the chat, but I love playing the devil's advocate as a counselor, and I think it's important to play the devil's advocate because I want people to think both ways. Is if you go back, and here's the example for everybody listening, if you go back when I'm old, so if you go back to when I was in school and all that, and the way we communicated is, if I wanted to talk to a girl, I'd write her a note in class, fold it up like a paper football, and slide it to her after the class. That was our communication, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the way we communicated and all that.
Check
right?
Yes and no, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe. Don't forget the maybe. But that's how we communicated.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm playing devil's advocate, how do these kids communicate today? Social media is not going anywhere.
No.
So I'm not saying, hey, give your kids everything, give them access to everything. But at the same time, it is their form of communication. Snapchat, all the stuff. So you as a parent, that's my little advice. You as a parent have to decide when you're going to give it to them, how you're going to give it to them, and most importantly, how are you going to monitor it?
Yeah.
And all that. And how are you going to teach them how to handle it responsibly? And I think it's a very, very hard thing that people have to live with. But it's not going anywhere. And that's just being devil's advocate. There's pros and cons to both sides, and you have to deal with it.
I'll say, just because I live in that space, Snapchat is probably a no-go. It's probably the worst app out there. And I've heard that from multiple people. That's not me. That's one app that I have never downloaded on my phone. I have never gotten it. Yeah. Both of the kids didn't get it. My daughter got it late, probably junior year of high school, I think. Hudson got it his freshman year of high school because all of the teams were communicating on that. At least that's what his mom said. But I think that's how they communicate. And I can look at the group chat there, but the premise with Snapchat is I send you a picture and in a few seconds it's gone.
Yeah.
Somebody's got it. All it takes is a screenshot. All it takes is that. So these kids that are learning that app, that was one that I was against from the beginning. I won that argument or won that gatekeeping thing until he got to high school. And when it was like probably where you're at, Eric, a little bit is this is how they communicate. So is he just going to be out of it or not? And then it gets to the thing is that Hudson has a Facebook. He doesn't know how to use it. He just connects because that's us old people stuff. Then he's got the Instagram where that's there. And then you got the TikTok and all that stuff. But the kids are still using the Snapchat and all those things. But like with Matt, you got to give it to him but you also have to, I think, was it last week we talked about, and I think Devo said it, those empty promises. Don't threaten it if you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, if this happens, then I'm going to take this away from you for this amount of time. Because I think because it's an inconvenience to us. Our parents didn't have that inconvenience because they were driving us around regardless because we had the bag phone and they weren't putting it in our car. Now it's like, well, I can stay after or whatever. No, I have to come get you or communicate with the parents or whatever. But I would just say, put the rules in place that, hey, this is what we've got. This is your rules of how many hours, how many minutes, what days of the week. You can set all of those things on their phone to shut down. Like, hey, you get an hour of this a day or 2 hours of this or whatever. You can monitor all that. I mean, they've gotten that sophisticated now with phones, but man, it's that was the tough one for me.
I think this is a great comment, right? It's their phone. And this is, if you don't know, if you haven't been there and you don't know, you just don't know. That's why you got to learn. You got to be involved in. You got to learn. We could teach a whole night on that. We teach a whole class on this, right? And you've heard me talk about it, right? The communication styles. But Snapchat is the way they talk, is the way they communicate, right? And there is a progression when you're talking about how they talk. Boys talking to girls, girls talking to boys. You know, Snapchat is on the laid back side, right? That's just, hey, that's communication. That's how it is. I mean, there's a whole thing about, y'all have heard me talk about it before. If you leave somebody on open, right? So if you leave somebody on open, what does that mean? If it's a girl and I leave that girl on open, what's that girl thinking if she's a young girl? She's thinking I don't like her, right? So now you sit there at the table and you're like, you see your son or your daughter, you see him just take a picture of the ceiling. Well, why are they taking a picture of the ceiling? They're taking a picture of the ceiling because they're just communicating, hey, I'm busy. Could be talking to my parents, but I'm busy. I acknowledge that you just texted.
I got what you said, but I'm telling you what I'm doing.
But I can't snap you back right now. So I'm gonna take a picture of the ceiling fan. I'm gonna send it to you.
Wild.
It is what does it mean when a guy and a girl? What does it mean when a guy and a girl go to the next level? What are they doing? When they go to the next level, you can say, oh, just text them. Well, in the real world, in the college world, in the high school world, when you start texting a guy or girl, you're going to the next level. You've gone past Snapchat. And if you don't understand this or you haven't done it to, and paid attention, it's a whole language that you, as a parent, have to understand. And
they don't even have to have
a guard and a gate that you need to learn.
Right. But they don't even have to have conversations now anymore. Matt was talking about the same thing. Like, I'm gonna write a note and like, hey, do you like me? Whatever. But then after that, if she says yes to the note, then Matt's got to call the house.
Then I got to call
mom or dad's got to answer the phone. Like, hey, can I speak to Tisha?
Yeah.
Tisha. But like now you could be within the phones. You could be within whoever's phone. It's like, oh, I got your snap. You don't even have to ask for a phone number. You don't have to ask if I like you. You don't have to ask any of that stuff. It's literally right there. And that's pushing our kids to where we're trying to get them not to be, is it's pushing them to not be able to have this face-to-face conversations, interacting with kids their own age outside of this in a adult setting, a job setting, a restaurant, or even sitting across from us at a table. It makes it very, very difficult. If I see my son take one more picture like that with the top of the roof of my car, like, what are you doing, bro? Just said, I'm responding to so-and-so. You've literally sent them the same photo 900 times. Well, I had to respond to everybody. What? Why are you taking a picture of my dash of my car? Like, that's the language. It's this. It's like Morse code. And if we don't understand it, like you said, Matt, we're going to get left behind, and then they run the show.
Well, and I think the takeaway from all this is that relationship piece, right? Mm-hmm. So like, we're never going to figure out that language. That language is constantly evolving. Matter of fact, 4 weeks ago, I just found out 6'7", and I was like, explain that shit to me. Like, what? What does it mean? Like,
it don't mean nothing.
It don't mean anything.
6'7",
and it don't even mean anything.
It's funny, like the first or second time you hear it, but after that, it's just it becomes crazy. And not only that, the language will never catch up. Like these little jokers got burner phones that all the middle schoolers got their parents' old phones that they passing around for you to use to communicate, even when you think they're not communicating. Like it's crazy. It's you never gonna catch up.
And as long as it's got Wi-Fi, they can do whatever they want. Nobody knows.
Yeah. So like the important thing is, sit that little joker down and just talk, just have a conversation. And so I'll about use the word, but it's probably correct. I'll force myself to do what it is that she wants to do so that I can be around her, so I can be involved with her, be present. And so like that's the name of the game. Like that's the only way to combat this situation. Like if you think you're gonna keep up with their vernacular, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. Because you're not.
It don't even mean nothing, Devo.
Right.
Like that I saw it on ESPN today. Kirk Herbstreit did it. Did y'all see that clip? Yeah. The guy was saying like 6 to 7 yards, and then the guy behind him in the crowd's like 6, 7, 6, 7, and you heard Kirk Herbstreit go 6, 7. That's old Kirk.
Hey,
like
now
that's gone.
The trend the trend though today, I saw like 3 videos, like in restaurants, like in like fast food restaurants.
It was 5 guys. It's like order 67. Everybody's
and they go crazy. The whole place goes crazy.
I think Tony Romo and Frank Gifford did it on the Denver Broncos Cowboys game.
It's a trend. It's a fad. And like you said, it means something to kids these days. Because if they're saying it to each other, it means something. And it's not something that we're supposed to understand, which is why they're saying it. It's wild. All of it's wild.
Yeah. He's got a good point.
Hey, Amy's got a dope point on this one. She says,
yes, for sure.
Make them the expert in the activity in order to spend time with them. Ask questions. Like, be curious. Like, be curious. Like, Whether
I like asking the questions now because it's like, because he like teenager. Matt's been there. Obviously, Devo's been there, but like everything's on the deep. I said, but like everything's on the defense now. Like tonight, I'm like, oh, how'd practice go? Fine.
Yeah.
So what'd you guys work on? What do you mean? I'm like, what? Whoa, bro! Like,
I got a great story about that.
What did you work on? Soccer. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do? Well, I'm like, you know what? Never mind. We'll ride home in silence because it frustrates the crap out of me. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. My mama said if I don't have nothing nice to say, I will not say nothing at all. That includes riding home in complete dead silence with you because I'm not asking ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer. I'm trying to learn. You're giving me a stupid answer. Therefore, I'm not saying nothing.
That's right. So one of my favorite stories, me and Brett, he remembers it this day. I was working air medical. I came in. This was when the year he was a senior, and they made it all the way to the state championship and won it, right? But in the regular season, they're undefeated going in the second to the last conference game, and they lost. I didn't see it. So I walk in, and I said, what happened? And he was mad. He didn't want to talk about it. He's sitting there, and he's got like Capri Suns lined up in front of him. Like, 18 years old, he's got his little juice box Capri Suns right in front of him.
Brandon will kill you for this one.
I was like, what happened? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, no, what happened? You're going to tell me what happened. He goes, no, I'm not. I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to talk about it. We lost. And I was like, no, you're going to tell me. And we went back and forth like that in a minute. And the next thing you know, I took those juice boxes and pushed them right into his chest. I said, as long as I'm paying for you to play soccer, you're going to tell me about it. And guess what he did?
After he picked them juice boxes up.
That to this day.
Where my straw at? I can't get my straw in here.
That's right. Don't get me on the juice boxes now.
Oh. I think that's part of the whole we're talking about it like gatekeeping and keeping what's in and out. And, I deal with it because I've split parenting home and a lot. I'll say it, split homes.
Be careful.
Be careful. But I'm saying there's a detox period. I'll say it that way. From coming back and forth, regardless, good, bad, ugly, in every situation, you have to deal with that coming back, especially if they've been at the other parent's house. And I've seen it not just with my own kids, but with other people's kids. Like, hey, because parents don't parent the same, rules, all of that stuff, there's this detox period. So you've got the detox period. You also have this gatekeeping of what you're trying to keep in and out. And it's a full-time job.
Talk about that question right there. Who wants to take that? Eric, you want to take that one?
I'm just laughing because that happened Saturday, this protection and freedom. So there's campus life going on in middle school, and we let Ethan join it. So they were having this harvest party at one of the churches, and Aaron's like, I don't know, it's 6:00, 6:45 at night or something like that. I just don't know. I'm like, hey, if we already let him sign up for it, we might as well let him go. And usually I'm on the other side of, hey, if you don't want him to go, he ain't gonna go, But I say, let him go, no problem. So then it became, well, it's gonna be cold. It's gonna go. I said, they're having s'mores and sitting around the campfire and stuff.
He gonna be sick when he gets back home.
She said,
miss school.
She said, well, were you going to sit out in the parking lot and wait for him? I said, I'm not waiting out in the church for 2 hours for them to go out there and eat s'mores. I'm coming home. So I drop him off. I get back to the house, and she still has her work clothes on because the football game was on earlier that day. She had to go to the game. And as you know, I'm going to get into bed, put the blanket on, and she's still dressed. And I'm like, you want to go back to pick him up? Yes, I do. Because like she didn't take her clothes off. So I was like, okay, I see what's happening. I said, look, we gotta let the boy go. I said he's not being eaten in the woods. The camp counselors have him. There were other kids, So by the time we got back to the church at 8:45, I mean, he's like just jumping, high-fiving the kids when they were done. Hey, mom, this is such and such, introducing and whatnot. And I'm just sitting there the whole time like, wow, this is happening. Whether we're ready or not.
That was as much a lesson for you two as more so than it was for him.
More so than it was for him.
Yeah, he was ready to go. I knew he was ready to go at about 6:00 that evening because I laid out his clothes and I said, hey, if you want to change them, that's fine. I just want you to, put some on so you be warm. He looked in the mirror after he got dressed. He was like, I look good. I said, he's good. He's good. He's good to go. And then mom's like, Hart, don't you want to change him into like? I said, no. The boy wants to.
Let that man. Listen, they don't wear coat. Hey, jackets ain't cool.
Let that boy fly.
It's about to be cold. They don't wear no jackets. So Eric, please tell your wife. Please tell her that boys middle school do not wear jackets until they get to 50 till they're Matt, and Matt gets cold still. Matt still wears a jacket. But I can't listen. I want to do a video of like proof that I did buy my son a jacket. They hoodies only. They only rocking hoodies. I don't even know that Hudson has a coat that zips up or buttons.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's a blizzard outside. He's like, I'll be good in a hoodie. You want a hat? Nah, I messed my hair up. What? You're going to die because you got frostbitten, and I'm about to take you to the emergency room.
Dude, Devo's rocking a hoodie or the beanie that I had on, like for
it's
him.
83 degrees.
He stuffed it.
He's rocking a hoodie in a bargain.
He stuffed it in his pocket. It was like that. I don't need to wear that because it's gonna mess up my twisties. He's got the little twisty thing. I can't wear that. It's gonna mess my hair up. I was like, man. So you're going to the thing with a big old bomber jacket and your beanies and your whatever. It's all good.
But that's one of those things where you have to, because I'm like, you're gonna get cold. Like talking about like shorts and a hoodie at a football game. I'm like, how much sense does that make? And then I'm like, you know what? There could be worse things that I'm dealing with, but
not your kid.
Right.
I am boom Parker.
Right.
Down, some earmuffs, 2 different color socks, unintentional because I couldn't see because I got dressed in the dark. Like, we're going for functionality these days.
Right. Eric was saying something about, Aaron wanting to come like pick him up. It reminds me of it's this protection with freedom. My brother went to the Air Force. All the jokes, I know the jokes are coming, but he went in. I wasn't big enough man to go in any of them. I will admit that, but he went to the Air Force. So he was in Texas. So, you guys have all been there. Like just the struggle that it is, the emotional, the mental, all those things. So when he would call, he would say, it's tough. It's this. And my brother's he's not like me. He's very middle child, very introverted, doesn't like people in his face yelling. Well, that's what happens at basic training.
Yeah.
So he got like somebody put a Snickers underneath of his pillow. He got recycled a week. He was just having a hard time emotionally, just deal with it before they make you a man. Because he left a boy, and 12 weeks later, he was a man. But in the middle of that, when he would call home and he would talk to my dad, like, then he would talk to my mom. And my mom would get off the phone every time crying. I'm going to go get him. I'm going to go get him. Like, she's like, this is the conversation we're having. So me being the, smart aleck and then the oldest, I'm like, Mom, what you going to do? You going to pull up to the front of, the Abilene base and say, I'm here to get my son because he's crying and upset. Like, you have to let he's becoming what he wants to be. It's that taking that protection and being like, okay, someone else has got him. I know he's not loving it right now, but the protection of what he's going through, what he's going to become. But that you said that about Aaron, like, oh, we should go get him or wait in the parking lot. My mom wanted to go get my brother every day for 12 years.
Yeah, but how proud was she when she went and picked him up?
Oh, she was fine because she saw him rocking with other kids, high-fiving. Everything was perfect. I'm sitting in the truck like, everything good?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Right. You're sitting there like, and you wanted me to sit in this parking lot for 2 hours?
I got to see the system firsthand, how they had it set up where you couldn't even park. You literally was just drop and roll. You sign them in, get back in your car, and keep on peeling out. They just didn't really want the parents there.
That's a tough one. That's middle school. That middle school drop off. High school is tough part for parents.
And I was going to say about that age range, that age group, middle school, all they want to do is be social. Like, everything else is secondary. Yep. Books, lunch. Like all that is just secondary. I just want to be around my friends and I just want to hang out.
Yeah, I'm learning that, dude.
Yeah, that's what my little one does.
And eat this whole 9 weeks because he's just been hanging out talking during lunch. He's like, I don't even need to eat, Dad.
Man.
Well, protection and freedom, and that's the point. The point is that you have to drop off. You have to pull up in front of the church. You have to drop them off, and you got to have some trust. That you put there, and they're not trying to go do anything wrong. I mean, at a church.
I was talking to a teacher today, and I asked her straight up.
I can tell you I was a
preacher's kid, though.
What happened? What is it? What is that?
Hey, girl, your name Keisha.
No. I was talking to a teacher, and I asked her. I said, am I wrong for how I feel? Like, I know. Like right now, if how we always play mind games with our kids. If the semester ended right now, you'd have but dude would have all A's and a C. At the end of the day, that ain't bad. But that standard is low for me because it's like I didn't make my first C till I got to App State in biology, and it
hold on, he ain't you.
And that's the thing. Yeah. That's the hardest part about letting go, Josh. Is that. So tough. It's like I have this faulty belief that that's a reflection of me not preparing him, and it's not true. It's not right.
Say that one more time. I want you to hear what you just said.
I have this belief of me not preparing him, and I know it's not true. I know he's going to he's going to blossom into the person he was designed to be. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that logically, but the emotional side of it is like, I was smarter at 11. like I didn't have, maybe like because I was so big, I didn't have no friends. So it's like I had to love my books.
All you had to do is just love your books.
My books were my best friend and stuff. So, but I'm trying to let my rational mind just die to the sword and be like, look, this boy is gonna be fine.
Yes.
I mean, he literally, if things go the way it trends, he's gonna be my Thurgood Marshall. I mean, his heart's pure. He wants to. He believes in justice. He doesn't like when people are mistreated. And it's like if that thing keeps growing inside of him, forget the grades. He's still going to just do what he wants to do.
Hey, this right here. Yes, this verse right here. Be watchful. The enemy prowls like a lion. I think that's a good verse, but that's also we can let it overtake us.
Yep.
Because we can think, oh yeah, somebody's out to get my child 24/7, 365. They're coming after him. And we want to protect and protect and protect.
Dude, this ain't no line and nobody else trying to get him. This is just straight up laziness. It's choice. It's choice, man. It's like I'm asking questions like, this thing was due on the 20th. It's the 28th. What was happening on the 20th? A matter of fact,
yeah.
you know,
And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about every day in life.
Yeah,
every day in life,
I
we're like, we think the enemy's at the gate.
Yeah,
you know, the enemy's there. Like
I think that's where
walk out the door, and there's the enemies.
They're
the
there.
lions over there prowling.
No, I feel you.
And they are. The enemy could, the lion could be prowling. Let's be honest. Depending on the choices that our kids try to make.
That's why we have to think. We have to be diligent, and we have to keep the watchful eye, and we always have to keep being prayerful and being involved and being relatable and being in their face, but not in their face, and be involved. I think that's you always hear the quote unquote the deadbeat dad, so you don't hear the deadbeat mom, even though there are both. But I think the biggest thing with dads is that it's showing up. I did a video on it the other day, but it's the sound, like, just show up.
Yeah.
I have my dad, his dad my dad played sports from 5, just like I did. My grandfather never made it to any of my dad's games, not one. My dad played 3 sports, didn't show up. And I think that's where we as dads and we as parents, and it's why teachers have the heart they have. People that work with the elderly, people that work with intellectual disabilities, those people that do it because they have a heart for it. It's showing up. It's not always the paycheck. It's not always the most glamorous. It's not always any of those things, but it's about showing up. And I think that's half the battle with dads. I think that we get that, and it's dad guilt too, right? Like, it's like when Hudson has a game and he's with his mom or whatever, it's like, man, I have something going on. I have the dad guilt, but I also have to realize that there's mom guilt too. He's good. He's getting to an age like, hey, bro, I got this going on. But it's about showing up, being involved. A text, a phone call, a FaceTime, a game, whatever it is. That's huge to kids these days.
Yeah.
Hey, tell Amy to homeschool.
Yeah. We'll jump back to Amy's, but I thought that was a good comment. We'll jump back to that too. But
homeschool, Amy. Keep them home.
No, don't do that to your child.
Don't do that to your kids, Amy. Please. I know both of those kids and love both of those kids. Do not do that to those kids. And it's nothing against that, but not even against Amy, because Amy was a teacher for 20-some years. But we need people. Like, we need to be around other people. And like, I don't know that. Yes, I think you can fail at a homeschool, and I think that sometimes it gets push forward and you learn faster and get done and graduate quicker. But just like Matt said, like, we got to fail forward and fail and get up and fail and get up and fail and get up over and over and over again with things that are not just academic or sports or life. Like, let them fail, let them fall on their face, let them get their heart broke, let them get cut from a team, let them break up, let them do all those things. And that's where we have to come in, and we're like, look, it happened to me. It's happened to your mom. It's happened to your brother. It's happened. That's the teachable moments. That's that. Right. I mean, ain't nobody ever.
Yeah. What do you think, Devo?
Yeah. I want to jump in real quick. I totally agree with Sarah said, or Sarah Ann. She said, don't do that to yourself. Like, send them kids to school and let the world teach them, right? No, you still be there with your kids and you still make sure you guide them along the whole process. But you're right. We need that social interaction. That's what our kids need today. And I think that's half the issue. Like, I think Matt was saying earlier, like, they don't know how to talk to each other. They don't know how to sit down and look each other in the eye and have a conversation that goes back and forth, point for point, and just having those conversations. But also, our other previous point too is like, again, I just think where we mess up a lot of times as parents is just not being there to mentor, like, not be the model. Like, we have to make sure that we give our kiddos something to see, or something to see that's worthwhile even. And I think that's where we meet missed the mark. I used to tell, like, I had a whole bunch of rules, but then again, I only lived by like a quarter of them. Like, so the same rules that we're willing to put forth to our kids, we have to be willing to live by, right? Like, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. So, excuse me, vice versa, actually. And that's where rubber meets the road. That's where our kids learn from. Because if they're not learning it from you, then they're going to learn it from that locker room. They're going to learn it from that cafeteria table. They're going to learn it from that Snapchat message. So, time to step up.
I think, look, it's 50-50, right? This is always been my belief. School is 50-50. You got to learn 50% about the grades and what goes on in the classroom. And then there's 50% about growing up and life and all that. And, you can look at, we used to always say this, like, you got my daughter Megan's really smart and you like being street smart. Does she bring the street smart with her? Because there's something about being street smart and all that as well.
Trey Foe, baby. Trey Foe.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. So it's, I think it's 50-50. I think you gotta teach them how to live in this world. Go ahead. What are you saying? I can't see that.
75-25?
You think it's 75-25?
I probably would agree with that too.
I would say I think it's probably a little bit more.
Okay. So for real, it's probably 75-25. But I'm telling you, there's so many kids who can't stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Cannot stand on their own 2 feet. Look, hey, I graduated from high school. I'll say it again. I'm very proud of it, right? Not very proud of it, but it's the facts. I graduated from high school. Josh right there with me. I graduated from high school with a 2.2 grade point average.
Yeah, I wasn't that low, but I was close.
I 2.2. I was no, but I'm saying grades. We talked about grades, but look, I basically, I'll be honest. I cheated my way through school. I did everything that I did. I got to college, and then I had to step up when I signed myself to be a pilot in the Marine Corps.
Man,
I had to learn how to study, and I took off. And man, I ain't turning back. Now that's to say I did it wrong because I learned from that. Me and my wife. Well, I learned from that. My wife learned from that. And look at what my kids have done because we didn't they weren't going to be where I was and all that because I had to work.
They call it cheating now. I called it subcontracting.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But point is, it's like it's different standards, and there's a lot that goes into life. And if you can't stand on your own 2 feet, a lot of these kids nowadays cannot stand on their own 2 feet. They cannot.
But it's the whole thing, and I think we talked about it before of passing things down, like Matt, how your parents parented, Devo, Eric, myself, how they parented. There has to be and I say break the cycle of it just being the way it is because times change, social media, the dating or jobs or everything changes, so we have to be able to evolve with that. We can't parent how our parents parented us. I know that's how we learned, but like you said, Matt, like your kids have gone and just, again, the only person that wants you to do better than them in this entire life is your dad.
Yeah.
And Matt's living that dream right now to, different parts of our life. And we all, I think, live that, but man, it's tough to talk about the gate I'm visual. So I'm seeing, like, when we put it up, I automatically thought wall, like a gate, like you're not getting in, but are they slats so you can see through and some stuff gets filtered through and some stuff doesn't? Like that's my visual of like, all right, what are we blocking? And does it get blocked every single time? Do we live? Do we learn? Do we open it? And they have to, it's not our parents were do what I say. I think we're in a generation now where they look at us more than probably we looked at it. And it's like, all right, like Devo said, this is what you said, but this is what you're doing. Which one am I supposed to do? And I think actions speak so much louder than words with this generation. Is you can tell them whatever you want. Social media does, TV does, news does, whatever, teachers, whatever. But what they see us doing, that's what's going to be the biggest gatekeeper or the biggest lesson for kids now is, okay, how are they acting when cameras off, lights are off, fans are gone, like whatever that is.
Because you know why? When he leave, I start talking again.
Right.
Hey,
that's a great phrase.
Like, it's perfect.
I ain't scared of Debo.
Right.
I'm gonna just tuck mine in.
Right here, Stacy said we have to adapt to the societal changes, and then Sarah Ann says being a people leader to this generation has been a learning experience as well. Um, just what is important to them, and so to that end, what I would say is like we have to start sharing why. Why is this rule in place? Why is this important?
Mhm.
Why did I make this decision? And you have to have big enough kahunas to allow them to pop back, because they're gonna give you a good counterpoint, and you have to be savvy enough to kind of have that narrative or have that conversation, that discourse with them to say, well, this is how we're gonna raise our family, and our family, respect the word of God, like whatever phraseology that you need to use. I think it has to be a conversation instead of just a dictation as to me and my house. This is the way we're gonna live.
Devo, keep talking, but talk to it towards this lesson learned. I mean, what does that mean to you? Because you're talking about it, but like, I mean, you're saying it, right?
Man, I had to switch my whole game up. Like it's about changing everything. Like everything is a question now. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a conversation. It's no more of Principal Carson's at the house and this is the way we're gonna move. Because I live with 4 women and they got, all of them got opinions, and we'll share them, which is what we want. We want our women, our offspring, to be able to rationalize their thoughts and put them into words and just make sure they share how they feel or what they believe or how we can make this better or how it can be more equitable somewhere down the line. I just think that's extremely important to development. Yeah, grades aren't important. And Eric, I was right there with you. It's the end of the quarter, right? So like grades are coming out, report cards coming out, I think end of the week. I was just out of school today, and then this weekend we spent the weekend together because Mama was out of town, and she was like, "Yeah, I got all A's and I got a B," and this is horrible. This is a bad example of parenting, but we were going to the Walmart, and it was this person having home challenges, and I was like, I wonder what they made it reading in middle school.
You said that?
Well, yeah, I use it as an example. It was just happened to be right. I ain't say it was right. Now, come on, don't judge me.
There's no judgment because it sounds exactly like something I would say. They got a toy probably because they got an A in reading.
One of my favorite phrases is somebody's got to cook the fries. Like somebody. It don't have to be you, but somebody has to cook the fries.
Yeah.
Like, every Friday, fries are free at McDonald's. You decide if you want that person to be you or not. So great.
That's funny.
They have their place. But
that's funny.
We have to learn to have great conversations with people.
Yeah.
Who we may not see 100% out of outlet.
I used to take Braden around, and I'm gonna let you go. But I used to take Braden around and drive him around. He remembers he talked to me about it this day. But I'd take him around. At winter, I'd be like, "Well, you could be a roofer. Nothing wrong with being a roofer. Gotta have a roofer. You could be the guy that turns the sign from start, go, stop to go." I'm like, "That's good. If you don't want to go to school, we got you. We got you. Go ahead, Eric."
No. I was just going back to one of our earlier conversations where I was acknowledging the changes that will happen when they get a little older. I'm listening to where you are with your children being a lot older. And I think I made the comment, I reflect on it now, I still am the potter and they're the clay of my house because I'm still molding. I'm in that mold stage. You're still there. And so the vision that Aaron and I are setting for the family, there's not a lot of negotiation. There's not a lot of talking back. There is discussion because they do understand the way they understand at 11 and 7, but there's not a lot of tug of war right now. It is do as I say. And it's also do as I show. I model because I try to be consistent in what I model. But at the same time, I know, and that's why I value these conversations. And I know that folks that are listening do as well, where you guys are, because I see it and I'm experiencing and Josh, I believe what you're saying about Hudson and your daughter. So I know I'll get there. I know that. I understand that's going to happen. But now It's a lot more. It's more controlling. That gate for me, as we were talking, I started to try to envision the kind of gate that I actually feel like we have. I feel like it's the gate that you see at these multi-million-dollar mansions where the car pulls up and you got to hit that little button and then it decides if it wants to open slowly.
Yeah.
But it also has some kind of camera built in, because I'm sitting in before I let you in. I already see who's trying to get in that gate.
Yeah.
And I see who you're going to try to go out to join once that gate opens. But that gate's not opening fast. It's a slow, and so for us now, at least how we operate in the way that that gate's going to open very slowly, and it's going to siphon in slowly and it's going to siphon out slowly, and I'm going to be able to see who's trying to get in and who's going out, and so. But I know that's going to evolve. I know it'll change, because we're talking about the freedom versus the protection and the trust and conversations where you want to get some feedback and you want to see, hey, the things that we did say back then, do they now impart that on their own with free will without having to be, or Josh talked about beat that dead horse and keep that horse beat down to the ground. Maybe I'll pull back, and it might be as quick as 8th grade. It might be, 8th grade transition, 9th grade, but it darn sure is not going to be 6th grade. It's not going to be 3rd grade. So I may be a little resistant on that. I gave you 75-25, but truthfully, it's 100% academics for me. The social thing, that'll happen when I tell you it'll happen, in my house, at least. Because there's just too much, there's too much at stake for, and I won't go there in terms of being disrespectful to the podcast and to the people listening, but I will say there's a lot at stake for 2 little brown boys in this country right here to not get what they need to get, to just have a knock at the door. That's even before you get a seat at the table. We're just talking about I just want to knock on the door and see if you'll let me in, crack the door, and then maybe what I learn and do or whatever will allow me to have a seat at the table, because everybody can't even get a knock at the door if we just be real, And so I'm conscious of that, but I also have a lens where I'm open and accepting, and I'm aware of my surroundings, and I know my kids have some advances that a lot of kids that look like them don't, and I know that for a fact. Whether that's right, whether that's wrong, it's just the circumstances that I put them in. But it's a big gamble to just be laissez-faire and just be like, whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Innately, there'll be this. I have to be more hands-on, because I know there's so much at stake if I hands off in their development. And
I hope you don't think that we're saying that at all. Like, be hands off, let them fall down, let them scrape their knees, let them do that. That's not at all what my thought is obviously we were very, very involved, and I got very spoiled because my wife was so good when it came to the academics and setting those ground rules and setting those, that I never had to do it because, she was doing it. And I was very lucky that my kids, and your kids will too, I can already tell. And I think everybody's kids here they adopted those habits. Yeah. So I never had to say anything. I mean, they were on such a time structure with dance and soccer and everything they were doing that they just came and got to work because they knew they had this hour and a half before practice, and then they had a little bit of time after practice. Yeah. So those good things that you're instilling in your kids at that age, the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My wife did that. And I'm not saying I didn't, because she was not always there, and I was, filling the gap when she wasn't, but very lucky that she was able to instill those things, and it carried on. Well,
once it clicks, like Matt, I think what Matt's saying, and I think Eric, what you're saying, those lessons that you're teaching them now that we all taught at that age, once it clicks to them that, Dad, I need to get this A, instead of you saying, hey, we can do better. However, whatever it is, I'll use grades. A, hey, Dad, I got to get this A. Once it clicks to them to where they take that over and they're doing it, like, hey, then they come to you saying, hey, Dad, I got this done. That's an amazing thing, because then that's the kudos to you and the pat on the back to go, they were listening. They were listening.
And they'll get some, and Devo, you'll probably agree with this, and Josh, you'll agree with this. they're going to get some of that natural pressure from, especially when they start going into high school and they're like, they know that, oh, if I want to go to this school or this school, you know, I got to make the grade, you know, I got to make the grades. And it's just, in fact, that's a whole nother show in itself. Sometimes that pressure is so hard, you know, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, me and Devo are very lucky. Well, you know, he's had $2 go to Chapel Hill. I've had $2 go to Chapel Hill. If you want to go to Chapel Hill, you're on it from day one, and you don't ever take a break, because you get that 1B, guess where you're not going. If you're a girl in the state of North Carolina, you get 1B, you ain't going, well, you might, but you're not going to get many Bs. You know, you're going to have to raise your game, you know, and beyond. And so they know that, they get that pressure because everybody's talking about it. All their friends are talking about it from that. And sometimes that's a lot of pressure. That's a whole show within itself. Like, what do you do when your kids are getting overwhelmed from all the external pressure that's coming on? We can talk about that at some point too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a lot.
You put something up, and I'll say my closing out, because I know we got to go, and it resonated because I saw it the other day that said, when I was growing up, my dad was basically right about it. I realized that my dad was basically right about everything. I just didn't like his tone.
Yeah.
And I saw that the other day, and I'm like,
I ain't like that hand coming across my backside.
Right. I didn't like the belt, the switch, the paddle, none of those.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Either. But he was basically right about everything. I just didn't like his tone. Now, from what Devo and I said, my kids probably say the same thing. I didn't like his tone. I didn't like the way he came at me. So that's a mindset for me to change the tone when I can get myself seeing, like tonight on the way home. Because I can be petty and I can be whatever. Like, fine, I ain't even talking to you then. I'm getting home to my podcast. But he can read the tone. They can read tone, and they can read that just like we could. But one day he will say, all of our kids will go, man, Dad was right. And we're either going to have the right tone or the wrong tone. And it isn't about being right at that point. It's about the relationship.
Yeah. And Eric, kudos to you, because you recognize when he went to the thing the other day that you had to set the tone with Aaron, you know, and you did. You know, because you recognize she was still nervous, but you're like, hey, we got to give him a little space, but also gave her the space to go through and see it for herself, because that's what you have to do. You got to go through it and see it for yourself, and you got to grow. It's hard, man. Parenting is hard. I'm sorry.
He been sleeping on the couch since.
What's that? Hold on, what you say?
Plus, I needed 2 hours of alone time.
That's it.
Be like, baby, why you still in your work clothes?
Yeah. Why you still in your work clothes, girl?
I said.
You said it right to your face.
I said it right
to your face. I said.
All right. Well, this was a good one. We're 3 minutes over.
Hold on. Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
Let me get 15 seconds.
You close this out, Devo.
Okay, I'm gonna close it.
Hey, tell them about the guests next week, real quick. Matt, can I tell them real quick and then give it back to Devo? We got a heavy hitter coming on to join us next Tuesday.
You want to tell them about the
I'm not going to tell them who, but I'm gonna tell them it's gonna be a heavy hitter that's gonna join the professional dads next Tuesday.
Yeah. Eric got a heavy hitter coming in on the podcast with us next week. I may not be on. We'll see.
Devo, you might.
Chicken fried steak.
You might like it. You might like it. All right, that's all. That's
go ahead, Devo. Close us out.
Hey, so what I was gonna say, just in relations to Eric's question, please don't ever run your house willy-nilly. You always have to be the king of the castle, and you have to always be the one who makes the final decision, because when it's all said and done, you're gonna be the one to answer for everything that happens. Right? Everything. And so, but what I see as a valuable asset that I didn't develop at the onset within my girls, with making sure they have a voice. Like, it's something to be said for being able to problem solve. It's something to be said for going to people who may be in authority over you. And I use that term loosely. But you have to be able to find your inner voice where you can speak to when it's something that you may not agree with it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get your way with it, but it just have an opportunity to voice that and be comfortable in your own skin, to put that out there in the ether. I think that's extremely important, because I know in my situation, I was just barked at my whole life, right? And so it was like, you gonna do this, you gonna do that. And it was 20 something. And then I went to the military, right? So it was after I got out of the military, I went to college and started going those little RA functions and be like, oh, I can have an opinion about this. This is what I feel, and then share that, because in college we just love everybody. We accept everybody for everything they do. I saw Judy this weekend, by the way.
I saw the pictures.
And so with that being said, I just, especially with females, with girls, I think it's really important for them to find their voice and be able to effectively communicate their stance, or where they are, with everything being said. So that's all I have to say. There's a million ways to do it, and you do it one way 1 week, the next week you'll be wrong. So it's all about adapting. It's all about finding your sweet spot. Again, that's the reason why I say it's so important to have that relationship and know your kids, because we know who they are. We know how they move. We know how they shake, and just make sure you feed into that and continue to grow and develop it. That's the most important thing. With that being said, love you, good people. See you next Tuesday. Holla.
Holla. Look at this weekly challenge. Review it.
Hey, I failed last Tuesday.
That's it. We got it. All right. We'll see you guys. Love y'all.